This video is sponsored by Tello Mobile. So here it is, Google Pixel 4a. It feels like I've been talking about this phone for an eternity already. We put out our first video on it in January, it's now August, but you know what? All the delays and drama and weirdness surrounding the future of the Pixel line doesn't really matter when the result is a phone this good, priced so competitively. I'm Alex from Android Central, and this is our review of the Pixel 4a. Arriving fashionably late this fall for $349 of your favourite currency. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our Android 11 review coming soon, and we'll jump right in. I'm going to get one major gripe out of the way right up front. The Pixel 4a's design in just black, which is the only colour announced right now, is fairly dull. It's comfortable to hold with a pleasant matte texture, but there's just not much to it. The design could have really benefited from the splash of colour we've seen elsewhere in the Pixel line, and it's just not there. That said, the ergonomics are sound. The matte plastic definitely feels like matte plastic, but that's kind of a trademark of the Pixel A series anyway. The buttons for power and volume are also polycarbonate, though with a reassuring clickiness to them. You could call the whole package understated, however, especially in this black colour, I definitely lean more towards boring, at least until there are some more colours available. At the risk of stating the obvious, this definitely is a small phone, and since there's no Pixel 4a XL this year, for the moment, the small Pixel is your only option if you want a current affordable Google phone right now. With that said, let's move on and concentrate on the side of the phone you'll actually be looking at. The 4a is the first Pixel to adopt this hole punch screen design, along with significantly smaller bezels than its predecessor. We'll be seeing more of both of those design traits in future Pixels if the rumours are to be believed. The 5.8-inch screen size combined with a taller aspect ratio and dramatically smaller bezels means the Pixel 4a is actually smaller than the Pixel 3a. It's also shorter and lighter than the small Pixel 4 from last year. The panel sports a Full HD Plus resolution and in most of the key metrics holds its own really well. It's not quite as crazy bright as a flagship screen in direct sunlight, but it's still perfectly legible even on sunny days. Colours are pleasing and vibrant, though out of the box it's set to this natural colour profile. If you want a bit more punch, you'll need to manually enable the boosted colour mode. And yes, this is a $349 phone, so of course the panel is 60Hz, as opposed to the higher refresh rates we're starting to see in some mid-priced phones like the OnePlus Nord. Going back to 60Hz after using the 90Hz Nord was a bit of an adjustment, but really after a day or so it looks perfectly fine. One area where the Pixel 4a trumps the Nord though is audio. Not only does it pack a pretty loud and clear stereo speaker setup combining the bottom-firing loudspeaker with the earpiece tweeter, but the Pixel 4a retains the good old 3.5mm headphone jack, which I don't particularly care about, but I know many people do. Inside, the Pixel 4a builds on the internals of the 3a in some really important areas. Of course, the CPU gets a bump up to a Snapdragon 730, basically a small step down from the Snapdragon 765 series that we've been seeing in some more expensive mid-ranges, and also lacking the 5G radios of that chip. There's only one storage configuration of Pixel 4a available right now, with 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. 128 is still pretty much the sweet spot where most people won't need to worry about running out of storage. And it's also fun to remember that less than a year ago the Pixel 4 debuted with half of that, so that extra space is definitely welcome in the 4a. Equally, 6GB of RAM is perfectly fine for a phone at this level, and I've run into absolutely no multitasking issues even when using that memory-hungry HDR Plus camera. There's also a 3140mAh battery inside, a modest upgrade from the Pixel 3a and Pixel 4 there. For me, it's enough to get through an average full day, and certainly the best longevity I've seen from a small Pixel by a country mile. Only on rare occasions did it struggle to keep pace with my usage. That said, I've found higher than average battery draw while streaming audio over Bluetooth on LTE, and obviously that Pixel camera processing is pretty power hungry too. It's easy to run the battery straight into the ground by lunchtime if you're out shooting photos and videos all morning. So by the time I was at the end of a regular 14 to 15 hour day with around 4 to 4.5 hours of screen on time, the phone was ready for a top up. And that pretty average battery is topped up by a pretty average charging spec, 18W USB PD via the box charger, just like every other Pixel since the dawn of time. There's no Qi wireless charging in this model unfortunately, despite rumours to the contrary. Before we move on, I want to take a sec to talk about this video's sponsor, Tello Mobile. Are you ready to lower your phone bill for yourself, your spouse or your teen? With Tello, the average phone bill falls under $20 a month. Plus, you can change your plan at any time with no fees whatsoever. Tello is designed to save you money and has something for everyone. For your teen, unlimited talk and text plus 1 gig of data for only $10 a month. That'll give them basic phone service with access to data while they're away from Wi-Fi. For the average American, unlimited talk and text plus 4 gigs of data for only $19 a month to fully enjoy their phone without overpaying for what they don't use. For the data-hungry professional, unlimited talk, text, and data for $39 a month. Unlike most MVNOs, all Tello plans include free hotspots. If you're ready for a no-nonsense wireless provider, then head over to Tello.com, check coverage in your area and if your current phone works with Tello. You get to keep the number you love and enjoy a ton of savings. Check the link in the description for more, and thanks to Tello Mobile for sponsoring this video. Now let's talk software. Google's Pixel software is one of the key things that sets its phones apart from the crowd. So just like any other Pixel, you get a minimum of 3 years of Android platform updates. The 4a's Pixel UI also comes with a full loadout of features from the latest Pixel feature drop based on Android 10. If you thought it was weird launching a new Pixel on Android 10 just a month before the expected arrival of Android 11, then you're right, it is. But that's very likely a consequence of the Pixel 4a's long delay beyond its originally expected May launch window. So by the time many people actually get this phone, it'll be running software that looks just a little bit different to what we're reviewing it on today. With that said, the Pixel 4a on Android 10 is fast and a delight to use. The new faster Google Assistant, which almost a year on we still haven't seen on any non-Pixel phone, is alive and well and exceptionally quick. Google has retired the squeeze gesture from earlier Pixels, so now the horizontal swipe gesture is your main way to activate Assistant on the 4a. Otherwise, this phone benefits from everything in the last Pixel feature drop, including the potentially life-saving personal safety suite and Google Pay integration in the power menu. And you get almost all the Pixel back catalogue of wallpapers and live wallpapers, including some fun new ones that riff on the placement of that hole punch selfie camera. Next to its smart assistant features, the Pixel's camera is where this series has really built its reputation over the past 4 years. So it's no surprise that the 4a excels at photography, mainly because that rear camera is essentially identical to that of the flagship tier Pixel 4. The main trade-off, besides the lack of any telephoto camera, is that photos do take longer to process, a consequence there of that slower processor, and the lack of the Pixel Neural Core coprocessor found in higher-end Pixels. Despite this limitation, the Pixel 4a is still the best little camera phone you could buy for less than $400. In fact, you'd have to spend considerably more to take better photos than Google offers here at $349. This is 100% a Pixel camera, with high dynamic range, perfect colours, and that trademark Pixel look that Google's cameras are known for. Google still has some of the best photo processing in the business, and that really helps to set the Pixel 4a apart from its competition. The really useful independent shadow brightness slider that debuted in the Pixel 4 also comes to the 4a, alongside staple Pixel features like the phenomenal night sight and the astrophotography mode that also debuted in the Pixel 4. The major limiting factor here is that there's just one rear camera, so you're instead left relying on Super Res Zoom, Google's smart zoom feature that works with the motion of the camera to get more detail. This works pretty well up to around 2x, but beyond that things start to become blotchy and watercolor-like, particularly in areas of softer detail like clouds. Still, there's enough wiggle room there that you can get away with punching in slightly and still getting a decent photo. And that legendary Google processing also helps with the selfie shooter. There's an 8MP fixed focus front facer that also supports night sight and Google's portrait mode. The Pixel 4a is incredible value for $349 pounds or euros, and a worthy successor to the Pixel 3a. Obviously you can't get everything for $350 though. Water resistance, a 90Hz screen, wireless charging, all of these things have had to have been cut to meet the 4a's aggressive price point. However, Google has made strides elsewhere, modernising and improving the design, stepping up the specs, keeping the same great camera quality, and slightly increasing the battery life, while also dropping the price by $50 compared to the 3a. All of which makes it a great upgrade. That's without even mentioning the Google magic, the Pixel camera, the best assistant, and a ton of AI smarts built into the software. So for all of those reasons, the Pixel 4a should definitely be on your shortlist if you're shopping for a mid-range Android phone this fall. That's going to wrap up our review. Stay tuned and subscribe for our upcoming coverage of Android 11 and the Galaxy Note 20 coming soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.